Welcome back. Responding to criticisms of youth work ethic, youth parliamentarian Alan Splant says employers must be fair assessing new members of the workforce. He applauds government efforts to provide avenues for young people to gain work experience, but says more can be done to engage a greater number of youth, whether seeking full or part-time employment.
As soon as a young person finishes secondary school, he or she is eligible for the world of work. Unfortunately, many youth exit the school with little to no knowledge about the working world and are scrutinized by employers who expect them to transition from being a child in secondary school straight to a working adult without the necessary information on how to be a successful and valuable employee. In a recent interview, Director of the St. Lucia Employers Federation, Joseph Alexander, sounded the alarm on what he describes as a work ethic crisis in young employees. Alexander attributed the poor working practices of young persons to an education system which is ill-equipped to prepare them for the working world. However, youth parliamentarian Alan Splant says the malpractices of one or two should not be used to taint the efforts of the hundreds who have successfully made the transition into the working world, having gone through the existing education system.
At the secondary school level education, the school builds a child holistically to prepare them to go into society, to go live into society. We do believe that the schools, together with all stakeholders at the school, do cater to students who give them the necessary prerequisites to go into the workforce and to be diligent workers. And the young people are capable to do it, and we never doubt young people and we have young people themselves who are entrepreneurs. You have Johan Ndujo, who in himself is a huge entrepreneur, is now on magazines and started very small. So once we have the confidence that we do have in the young people and the necessary resources that we do have, we can harness the skills of young people who are leaving secondary school to go into the workforce.
Plant disagrees with Alexander's suggestion of a longer probation period for incoming employees who are of a younger age.
I don't believe that in a probationary period, while at the same time on both ends, an employer would expect a young person to be mature enough, especially as they're transitioning into the workforce and to such job. But at the same time, you are scrutinizing a young person because that person will not just be there for the job, but to be there and to go beyond. So at the same time, for the employer to be the screwdriver to screw that young person into life, but for the young person also to be ready to take the task ahead of them.
He says though the perfect employee may not exist, it is unfair to categorize persons as undesirable workers due to their age, and adds that poor working ethic truly exists in all age groups. For 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
A highly vocal women's advocate is calling for the court system to take domestic violence more seriously in order to give victims both the justice and protection they deserve. Raise Your Voice President Catherine Seeley says the situation is getting worse and the legal system continues to fail victims. She says the need to revisit said legal system is beyond pressing.
We have domestic violence victims who have their husbands, their boyfriend, their partners have tried to kill them. Then after they try to kill them, they victimize them. They use the system to further victimize them because they tell such a convincing story that the people who are supposed to be providing services to victims of domestic violence does not even recognize the stories of fabrication. Then you have a domestic violence victim traveling every other time to come to the family court for court. When she gets there, the perpetrator does not show up. They just adjourn. And she keeps coming and coming. I was always of the view, or I might have been wrong, that if you have disobeyed an order of the court to show up, that you should be arrested on a bench warrant and brought before the court.
That was Raise Your Voice St. Lucia President Catherine Seeley. In an effort to create sustainable solutions to several social ills which have been identified in the school environment, students of the St. Mary's College convened a District 2 that should be convened at the District 2 education offices to engage in discussions with stakeholders. Student Council President Alan Splant says it is suitable for students to be the ones who devise solutions for such issues as they face them on a daily basis.
According to St. Mary's College Student Council President Alan Splant, a school that engages their whole school community to address the various issues plaguing student life is more likely to succeed in preventing the continuous prevalence of these issues when compared to a school using single-factor interventions only. A whole school approach to preventing and responding to these issues should be based on research and evidence-based practice and strong partnerships.
All the student leaders of St. Mary's College are gathered here at our education office, where we will have a series of training with our school counselor, guest speakers and other teachers at the school, where the school believes that as to bring all the necessary stakeholders together, especially as students, that we, the student leaders of the school, being the student council and the peer counselors, can given a workshop to aid with the general coping of our students on compound. It is an initiative that we all know that students face challenges daily at St. Mary's College, well, at any school. And with this initiative, it could help with student leaders so that they have a better approach as to how to help students, the student body who suffer the different challenges at school.
Plant says there are a number of factors that schools should consider when determining their choice of method.
Creating the effective path for challenges of students at our school and the way moving forward. So it's putting a strategic plan from the students themselves as to how we as student leaders can set the approach or set the tone in helping students with challenges at school.
He underscores the importance for students to spearhead such initiatives.
At the end of the day, the foundation of the school is made up of students. So when you have students' input into whatever happens at the school, it sends out a clear message to the ones at the top, or to our principal and so on, that the students actually do have a major role to play in the school. So we do believe that with student participation, which is key in this initiative, it will help us as a school to move forward well, not perfectly, but positively with our efforts that we push forward as students.
Plant says students are eager to create sustainable solutions, which can easily adapt to facilitate the issues of not only the current student body, but Sumerians of the future as well. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacqueline.
An Anglican reverend is highlighting the need for new avenues to be explored in the quest to make life easier for the elderly. Reverend Eleanor Glasgow is suggesting a new daycare system which will allow the elderly to live out their final days among members of their peer group, but to also be able to go back to the comfort of their homes at the end of the day. This, she says, will bring their dignity back to them.
As the saying, once a man, twice a child goes, it goes without being said that the elderly must be a nation's priority, as their well-being, like that of a child's, is out of their hands. Speaking candidly on the matter to Hot 7 TV was Anglican Reverend Eleanor Glasgow, who said we all have a responsibility to our senior citizens. This, Reverend Glasgow said, should be seen as a matter of duty, as we exist because of them. She said the least persons can do for the elderly is to allow them to die in peace, and she offered one way in which this could happen.
One of the things that was being mooted about was, for example, a daycare center for elderly. Let our older folks die with dignity in their own homes. So just as you have a daycare nursery for the young ones, the elderly can come to a particular facility. They can share, interact with their peer groups. They can talk about old times, recollect. When you are on your way to work in the morning, you deliver your parent to the center. They spend the day. When you're coming back home, say 4 or 5 in the evening, you collect them. They're back in their homes with their families.
Reverend Glasgow said she does not subscribe to shutting the elderly away. She said through the church, they can use this as an avenue to spread the message and to push the initiative.
So the church has a captive audience, and in our sermonizing, in our various organizations, we can educate our members about showing love and care for our foreparents. And they have contributed to the development of society, and we need them. We need them. Not all of them are suffering from dementia. Some of them, their faculties are quite good. We have primary schools, we have church schools. We can have the young ones come into the daycare center and interact with the elderly. Read to them, comb their hair, listen to their stories. One of the things I enjoy most about ministry is interacting with the elderly. they teach me how to grow old gracefully. And I think we need to be a bit more appreciative of them.
The island currently has at least 5 established homes for the elderly situated at different locations around the island. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more coming up after the break.